The year 1996 in console video game history will often be remembered as a transition year between the 16-bit generation of consoles that we are moving away from, your Sega Genesis and your Super Nintendo Entertainment System, and moving into the fifth generation of consoles, the Sega Saturn, the Sony PlayStation, and later on in 1996, the debut of the Nintendo 64. Now, with these new consoles out and people clamoring to upgrade to the latest and greatest thing, that didn't mean that there wasn't a significant audience that still had their Genesis and Super Nintendo consoles with them and using them fairly often. Video game developers and publishers were aware of this and were still making games for both consoles well into the fifth generation of consoles. So while the PlayStation and Saturn and the 64 were getting their fair share of support, and a lot of it, there were still games coming out for the Super Nintendo and the Genesis into 96, 97, even 98 and beyond. One of those games is the game that we'll be looking at in this episode of Unsealed, but a little bit of background first. This is a baseball game. It is a late baseball game from 1996. Now, baseball has always been treated very well on the Super Nintendo. If you think all the way back to the launch window of titles available for the system in 1991, you can think about Super Bases Loaded. You can think about Extra Innings. You can think about Nolan Ryan Baseball. You can think about Super Baseball Simulator 1000. All very good to great baseball games, depending on how you look at it. And baseball continued to get solid representation as the years went by. Super Baseball 2020 is another example. Or Ken Griffey Jr. Major League Baseball is another example. I have the sequel to Ken Griffey Jr.'s Major League Baseball to open up for you today. This is Ken Griffey Jr.'s Winning Run, released in 1996, developed by Rare, yep, those are the same people that developed the Donkey Kong Country games, and published by Nintendo. This is the sequel to Ken Griffey Jr.'s Major League Baseball and looks way different. It uses the same advanced computer modeling techniques that were used in the Donkey Kong Country games for more of a realistic feel, and definitely looking more like you could argue an early 32-bit title than you could a 16-bit title, although there aren't any polygons in the game. Everything looks very smooth and computer generated. The look is good, and we'll take a look at the back of the case in just a minute. In fact, here it is. Now, I know it's difficult to see because of the glare from the monitor, but that's where you can see the screens from the game. And let's take a look and see what the game promises. Ken Griffey Jr.'s Winning Run, incredible 3D baseball with more stats, player trades, and full season action. That was a big step up for the Griffey series to be able to have full season action, because that enables a lot more replay value. You're not necessarily just playing a couple of games in the off chance and then writing down a password or maybe coming back to the game later on. This was a game that you were going to commit a little bit of time to, especially if you wanted to take your favorite team to the World Series. So it was worth the time because it was a lot of fun to play, but we'll get into that very shortly. So the back of the box reads like this. Now you can make baseball history with Ken Griffey Jr.'s Winning Run. Play with all 28 major league teams and challenge your baseball skills over a full season. Capture the pennant and you're off to the World Series. Incredible 3D rendered stadiums have views of the field that are so realistic you'll swear that you're really there. Back in 1996, you could almost believe that. Of course, if you look at the game now, maybe not so much. Step up to bat and you'll feel like a major league hitter. There has never been a sports game like this one. With more stats, more realism, and more baseball thrills, it's a grand slam home run. With more stats on individual player performances, you'll be able to track the leaders, make the trades, and position your team for a run at the pennant. For a Major League Baseball challenge, play a full regular season, an all-star game, or a World Series, so it's nice to have multiple modes of play here. 2 players can compete in head-to-head action, and the battery-backed memory saves your season progress. That is enormous. It is always nice not having to write down passwords, and especially because the game tracks stats as well, you need to have that battery backup to keep all that stuff saved. It's also a licensed product of Major League Baseball. However, what's interesting to note is that the Major League Baseball Players Association did not sign off on this game. So while you will see teams like the Boston Red Sox, the New York Yankees, and the Oakland A's, you will not see players in the game from those teams. All of these players are fictional, although their statistics are modeled very closely to the previous season of baseball. There's also, in the package, a Griffey collector card, which I'm looking forward to checking out. One of the cool things about opening Super Nintendo games and Sega Genesis games from this period is because when you open the box or when you open the case, it was more than just a cartridge in there. You got the instruction manual, you got sometimes a reference to order a year of Nintendo Power, or maybe there was a poster or something else in here. And as we're going to see shortly, there is more in here than just the game like we see today. But enough talk. Let's go ahead and get this guy open. It's been 23 years waiting for somebody to go ahead and open it, so we're going to do that right now. Have my scissors available to me. So I'm going to try and open this so that I don't cause any damage. There we go. 1996. So that would have made me 24 when this game came out. Here we go. That takes care of the plastic. Let's go ahead and open this up. And when we open the case, there we go. Going to put the box off to the side. So the first thing that's in here is the cartridge, which is on the or in the cardboard sleeve, which is important. By this time, Nintendo had gotten rid of the plastic cartridge protectors, so you just had the cartridge in the case like this. We also have in here the ever popular Super Nintendo consumer information booklet. We also have a Nintendo Power subscription offer, your own personal scouting report, or so it promises. Get major league help from the pros at Nintendo. Man, I wish Nintendo Power was still around. And of course, it plays up all the sports games, as you can see there. We also have, because I don't want to show that just yet, we have a poster in here, and I talked about this before. We do have a poster for the Super Power Club right there. Those were the cards that came in the Nintendo Power magazine. I used to love collecting those cards. And then there is the poster, the Play It Loud poster. I love that campaign as well. So that's another of these posters. I got to hang some of these up. We have the instruction manual, which we'll get to in just a minute. And finally, yes, we do have the Ken Griffey Jr. collector's card. Center fielder for the Seattle Mariners, wearing his Mariners attire there. After missing 73 games with a broken wrist, Griffey returned just in time to help his team dramatically clinch the AL West. Griffey elevated his game to a new level. He hit a record-tying 5 homers in a playoff series against the Yankees and scored the winning run in the final game to cap one of the most exciting postseason games ever played. And it lists his 1995 stats, which you won't be able to see because they're too tiny. But yeah, that's the Ken Griffey Jr. collector card. That is pretty darn cool. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the instruction manual. Here's the manual right here. It is in full color, which I love. I love the fact that these are in color. And when we take a look on the inside here, there's a section called the game plan, which kind of gets us set to play the game. It says here, baseball's most popular and exciting player, Ken Griffey Jr., adds his name and baseball expertise to Nintendo's newest Super NES baseball game. It was the 5th game of the 1995 Wild Card playoffs, down by 1 run in the bottom of the 11th inning. The Seattle Mariners, with Ken Griffey Jr. up to bat, were setting the stage for the most exciting finish in a divisional series. Griffey Jr. smacked a single to center field to advance a runner to third base. Then the American League batting champ stepped into the batter's box and drove a pitch deep to left field. The 1 run scored easily to tie the game. But wait, here comes Ken Griffey Jr. rounding third. He's going to try the impossible, scoring from first base. The throw to the plate is on the way. Ken Griffey Jr. hits the dirt. The throw is not in time. The Seattle Mariners advance to the American League Championship Series thanks in part to Ken Griffey Jr.'s winning run, hence the title of the game. That's pretty cool. So you've got your play controls here, and there are quite a few of them. Let me see if there unfortunately aren't a lot of in-game screenshots here to look at. I want to see if I can find something in action that I'll show you, but there isn't a lot here. But they do show some nice images of the setup screens, which is kind of cool. Let's see what else we have here. We also have, you can order some Ken Griffey Jr. collectibles if you are so inclined. Griffey 96, which looks like he's running for president. Ken Griffey Jr. hat and a wristband. And there's more stuff here as well, and there's even an order form on the back of the manual. So this game, if you haven't played it before, at least to me, is a little bit more forgiving than the first Ken Griffey Jr. game is. To me, it's a bit more enjoyable to play, although I do struggle with the hitting a little bit. It is fun to play. It looks good. It sounds very good. And it definitely has that distinct look that you would think comes with advanced computer modeling. If you've played a Donkey Kong Country game, you feel like it has that same aesthetic to it. The music is that high energy, almost techno beat that Rare is known for, especially at that time with Killer Instinct being something that Rare had worked on. It has that same kind of jazzy feel to it. There are some voice samples as well, so the game sounds good. It looks very good. The gameplay does take some getting used to, but as I said, I do enjoy it a little bit more favorably than the original Ken Griffey Jr. Baseball. Now, it's not my favorite baseball game for the system. If you asked me right now what my favorite baseball game for the system would be, it is a really close race between Super Batter Up, which is basically RBI baseball, but not. So between Super Batter Up and Super Bases Loaded, those are the two games that I played the most. Also, Super Baseball Simulator 1000 is in that conversation as well. But in terms of games that look good and that sound good, if you like baseball, then you really can't go wrong with Ken Griffey Jr.'s Winning Run. Now, you don't have to pay for a brand new copy like I did in order to add it to your library. You can usually find this game used loose for less than $10. And I'm not sure whether the battery will work. Heck, I don't know whether the battery works in this particular copy. But if you like baseball games, and it's this time of year as we're in the later stages of the dog days of summer and the baseball games are starting to mean something in the standings, then now might be a good time to introduce yourself to Ken Griffey Jr.'s Winning Run and catch some baseball fever while it's still available. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Unsealed. I certainly enjoyed making it. I'm looking forward to putting this game through its paces as well. Don't forget that you can check out some of my baseball game reviews in an upcoming book, a Super Nintendo guidebook that was being helmed or is being helmed by Pat Contry. That game book with tons of reviews and other content will be available later this year, and I will certainly jump on camera to let you know when that does come out. In the meantime, thanks very much for watching Unsealed. I hope you enjoyed this and all the other episodes, and until the next time, take care of yourselves and each other. We'll see you later.